From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It's Wednesday, January 6th, right now on Good Morning Indiana. It's the final step in certifying Joe Biden's presidential win, but today's Electoral College vote count is expected to be anything but normal. The controversy brewing on Capitol Hill and how Indiana is taking center stage.
The Fishers Health Department will get a shipment of coronavirus vaccines in the next few days. What they're doing to ensure a smooth rollout.
Many people in this day and age naturally concluded that this was an unjustified shooting without even knowing all the evidence.
Only on WRTV, Special Prosecutor Rosemary Corey is opening up about the Dre John Reed case, how she says race, gender, and law collided in this high-profile case.
And we'll have more on our exclusive interview with that special prosecutor in just moments. But first, from Johnson County, a big good morning to my morning family in Studio A. Hey guys,
hey,
what's happening?
Morning. Good morning, Raphael. We're doing pretty good here. It's a quiet Wednesday overall, Megan. We were even saying it wasn't too bad walking in this morning to work. I mean, for January standards, I should say.
And still, we have our long sleeves on. But Todd, we know it's going to be cloudy, right?
Yeah, you know, the clouds are in place. That's not going to change here throughout the day. But you're right. It could be a lot worse this time of year. You go back 7 years ago when we had over 11 inches of snow, and then we got locked into temperatures that were below zero. So yeah, definitely can be worse. We're at 33 right now in Bloomington, 32 in Indianapolis. The problem, as we've been talking about really all week long, has been the clouds. They've been stubborn. We haven't been able to get rid of them. And the way you get rid of them a lot of times is with a storm system or a front coming through. And we just haven't had that happen. So once again, today we're going to have skies that are going to be mostly cloudy. You notice the clouds trying to break apart a little bit here in spots, but those breaks will fill back in pretty quickly throughout the day today. This storm system is out there off to our west, but it's not going to impact us here in central Indiana. What you see is what you get kind of as you walk out the door here this morning with the cloud cover, and then temperatures will eventually slowly start to climb. Should be around 35 degrees by the noon hour, with high temperatures this afternoon, Lauren, topping off in the upper 30s.
All right, Todd, thank you. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads this morning. This is a live look at I-65 down in Johnson County. This is near County Road 600 North. So this is the stretch between the Worthsville Road exit in Greenwood and the Whiteland Road exit down in Whiteland. You can see here everything's traveling smoothly, both northbound and southbound. I'm not monitoring any delays right now for your Wednesday commute. Megan?
Thank you, Lauren. Well, today, a joint session of Congress will meet to certify the 2020 election results. It's a day that often goes unnoticed, but not this year. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live now with more on the congressional controversy brewing on Capitol Hill. Good morning, Kelsey.
Hey, good morning, Megan. So as we all know, Election Day was in November, but today the 2020 election will officially be over with Congress certifying the Electoral College vote that happened last month. Now, usually this process isn't something that's heavily covered, but it is this year because President Trump has not conceded the election. The vote today begins at 1 p.m. and is expected to take a very long time. So during the vote, each state will be called and the results read out loud. And at that time, any member of Congress can object to the result. Now, these objections have to be submitted in writing, which has been done by more than a dozen members of Congress. Each objection gets a 2-hour debate followed by a vote. And now, will this change the outcome of the election? Experts believe it won't because a majority of the House and Senate would have to object, and they say that is unlikely. The Constitution and election law both say that that's not the case.
Both the constitutional provisions in the 12th Amendment and the statute give the vice president an incredibly ceremonial role of opening the results of the election, opening the envelopes that have the results of the Electoral College's action and the state's certification of what the Electoral College has done. He opens the envelopes. That's it.
So the last time an objection like this occurred was 15 years ago, by Democrats who believed that voters were disenfranchised in the state of Ohio, and that could have helped John Kerry defeat George W. Bush. Now, the key difference this year, 2020 compared to 2005, is that Senator Kerry, he did not support the effort, and of course this time President Donald Trump, he does support the effort for this vote. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Some interesting moments are expected on Capitol Hill this afternoon. Kelsey, thank you so much. And with several Hoosier lawmakers expected to challenge the presidential certification, WRTV's political insiders, they are weighing in on this day in history.
Just a disgusting display of fealty to a guy who lost. I don't know what else to say about it other than that. I'm deeply disappointed in Senator Mike Braun. I'm deeply disappointed in Jim Banks and all the other Republicans from the state of Indiana who are continuing to give us a bad name.
You know, you've got Republicans who are standing up and saying this isn't the way things should be done. You have more Republicans standing and saying, you know, our guy didn't win, and so we don't like it, so we're not going to accept the votes of millions of Americans, and it's incredibly disappointing. And you know, honestly, again, it's a big threat to democracy, and frankly needs to be nipped in the bud.
Our political insiders also add that they believe that some politicians are mounting this challenge to avoid a primary challenger in their future primary race. Lauren?
And Raphael, as we've mentioned, the pressure is on for Vice President Mike Pence. The former Indiana governor will preside over the vote today. During a rally in Georgia Tuesday, President Trump called on Pence to challenge the votes at a handful of states. Overnight, the Trump campaign tweeting out a statement from the president. It says that he and Pence are, quote, in total agreement, and that Pence has the constitutional authority to decertify the results or send them back to the states. Sources say the vice president has no plans to try and block the certification of President-elect Joe Biden's win. Raphael?
Lauren, the shooting death of Drejon Reed remains a high-profile case. It's still the focus of a federal lawsuit in Indianapolis. Only on WRTV, Rosemary Corey, the special prosecutor who led the investigation, tells us that she felt the burden of her review and felt the pressure of the case. During a foot chase on May the 6th, Drejon Reed was shot and killed by Officer DeJour Mercer in an exchange of gunfire. She called on state police to investigate and for a grand jury to review the case. That grand jury reached a no-bill decision, meaning no criminal charges against the officer.
Do you think race or gender played a role in the public's expectation as you went about doing your job?
I believe that race played a role because I believe that many people in this day and age naturally concluded that this was an unjustified shooting without even knowing all the evidence, just because of what has taken place across the nation in the past several years. I also believe that gender played a role, because I believe that anytime a Black man is armed and running, I mean, I think that there's a perception that he's guilty, or that I think there's an assumption that he used the weapon or attempted to use the weapon. And I do think that that is attributed some to the gender of a Black man with a handgun. So yes, I would say that both played a role in the public's perception.
Would you consider being a special prosecutor again, considering this experience?
I absolutely would. And here's why. I believe it's important that we have a fair legal system, and that we have a fair investigation and a thorough investigation. And I trust myself to do that. I know it was a lot of work. It was a lot of hard work. But I know that the citizens deserve that type of investigation.
No two cases are the same, but if someone were to be called to another situation like this, a special prosecutor, what advice would you have for him or her?
I would give the advice that I gave myself this time around, and that is to follow the evidence and let the evidence guide you.
More of our exclusive discussion with the special prosecutor coming up at 6:30, and our full interview with her will be posted on our website, WRTV.com. And looking really at the bigger picture, the Reed case, plus this past summer's demonstrations here in Indianapolis, led Metro Police to implement several reforms, including body cameras for beat officers, as well as the creation of that use of force board. Again, more of our exclusive conversation coming up later on GMI. Megan?
Great interview, Raphael. Thank you. Well, more COVID-19 vaccines are on their way to central Indiana. Up next, we take a look at how one local health department is making sure the rollout process is smooth.
And businesses are getting an extra incentive to help people out with their student loans. How you can cash in on this benefit. Todd.
And the clouds are in place across central Indiana, and that's keeping most of central Indiana from developing some patchy dense fog here this morning. Although where the skies have cleared a little bit up in the Monticello area there, you notice a little fog has settled in, and that could be in the form of some freezing fog for those of you. Rest of us just A-OK here this morning. We'll talk more about your forecast in detail coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
411 to learn more.
Welcome back. Turning now to the latest on the coronavirus. Nearly 3,500 more Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19. That's according to the latest data from the State Department of Health. To date, more than 533,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. As of this morning, our 7-day positivity rate is just under 16%. State health officials also report another 142 new COVID-related deaths. 184 of those reported this month alone. Since March, 8,292 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. A major concern around hospital capacity and resources continues. As of this morning, more than 2,900 Hoosiers are hospitalized with the virus or a suspected case of the virus. Statewide, those patients are using about 27% of ICU beds and just under 12% of ventilators. Raphael?
And so, Megan, as more vaccines are heading to Indiana, we're getting an insight into how some cities will get them to the people who need them the most. The Fishers Health Department hopes to create a vaccine roster. Residents who are interested in getting vaccinated can fill out an online survey. The Fishers Public Health Director, Monica Health, says the first doses will continue to go to those identified by the state, of course, like healthcare workers and first responders. Health says the state has yet to say which groups will be next in this process. So her department is taking a proactive approach while they wait.
Because we don't know who's next and we don't know how people will continue to be notified once they get through these employer notifications, we want to have an active process for notifying our residents when the vaccine is available to their group.
We have a link to that survey and more information, of course, on the WRTV app. Lauren?
And Raphael, businesses are getting an extra incentive to help people out with their student loans. That latest stimulus package extends a tax benefit for companies who offer this type of assistance. Employers are allowed to make tax-free contributions up to $5,250 a year towards their employees' student loans. This benefit is set to go until the end of 2025, but one student loan expert tells us that he expects it could eventually become permanent.
The benefit of making it permanent is there are some employers who are still sitting on the fence with regard to offering this benefit because they don't want to offer the benefit and then have to stop offering it when Congress, if Congress doesn't extend it.
Well, federal student loan payments are currently paused through the end of the month, but employers can still make the contribution. This will go entirely to the principal of your loan. Megan?
Lauren, the Rebound Indiana is our commitment to connect you and businesses with the resources that will help get you through this pandemic. The Wayne Township trustee is offering a financial boost to small businesses in that township. Small business owners can now apply for the Helping Hand grant. 30 eligible businesses will be awarded $2,000, which can be used for payroll taxes, utilities, rent, or mortgage payments. The deadline to apply is a week from today, January 13th. Take note of that. Businesses are eligible if they were established in Wayne Township by 2018. We have at least 4 employees and can demonstrate a decrease in revenue due to the pandemic and Mary County's health orders. And you can find a link to apply in this story on the WRTV app. Recipients will be announced as of January 20th. Time now is 6:18. Let's get a look at the weather with Todd Clausen.
All right, another cloudy day in store for us here, unfortunately, across central Indiana. We're just stuck in this pattern where we can't get rid of these clouds. And as a result, temperatures overnight haven't been all that bad because of the cloud cover. Instead of dropping down into the 20s, we've been actually running a little bit above normal, hovering right around freezing. The problem is going forward throughout the day, then we just don't warm up because of that cloud cover. It's 32 right now in Indy, 33 in Bloomington, 34 in Muncie, as well as Connersville. Over the next couple hours, our temperature may drop another degree, but that should be just about it. And then once the sun comes up with the cloud cover, you'll notice we'll warm a couple degrees back up into the mid-30s as we head into the noon hour. Here is the cloud cover that is out there, and for the most part, it's pretty thick across the area. We have this one little clearing area here up as you work your way into the Monticello area, and in that area, there's been a little bit of fog that has developed across the area, and with temperatures hovering right around freezing, it could be in the form of a little bit of freezing fog, but it's only contained to where those skies have cleared up in White County, and maybe over as you work your way into the Flora area. There could be a little bit of patchy fog as well, but it's not widespread by any means this morning. This storm system is off to our west, and the storm track, at least for the next week or so, is going to be very active down to our south. But all these storms are going to miss us here in central Indiana, where they may throw some clouds in our direction at times. But as far as any precipitation goes, the storm's going to make its way through the Atlanta area and then eventually up the East Coast, just kind of making its way right around Indiana in a U shape. But that's why our weather pattern is just kind of stagnant right now. We need some storms or fronts to come through to kind of change things up, and that's just not happening. 34 in Frankfort today, 35 in Kokomo, about 37, 38 in Indy. Shelbyville, 39 degrees today, as well as 38 in Bedford and the Bloomington area. This evening, if you have plans, you'll need to bundle up just a little bit with partly to mostly cloudy skies, temperatures hovering right around freezing. Then overnight tonight, mostly cloudy, temperatures generally right around that 30 degrees as we get going throughout the day on Thursday. And then look at this. Unfortunately, all the daytime planner, the day parts here in your daytime planner have cloudy skies and temperatures in the mid-30s. When do we see a change? Well, I think Friday the clouds will start to decrease a little bit throughout the day, but it's really this weekend and beyond that we get the sunshine back in the forecast with temperatures, Lauren, in the mid-30s.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at your commute right now. This is our INDOT traffic camera along I-70, just a little east of German Church Road, and traffic here is moving along up to speed. Whether you're traveling on the east side of Marion County or heading over into Hancock County, traffic along Interstate 70 is traveling up to speed. We don't have any problems to slow you down. Great news for your Wednesday commute. Megan?
Great news. Thanks, Lauren. And the Colts are getting ready to take on the Bills on Saturday in the NFL Wild Card round. Up to 6,700 fans will be allowed in the stadium. That's about 10% capacity. All fans must test negative within 72 hours of kickoff. A stadium parking lot will be converted into a testing site tomorrow and Thursday. If successful, the program could be used in other events.
30 lanes of traffic so that we can move people in relatively quickly in and out. Broadway, opera, movie houses, restaurants, other types of retail venues can begin to open with other testing schemes.
The game against the Colts will be the Bills' first home playoff game in a quarter century. Raphael?
It's been 24 years since the murder of JonBenet Ramsey, and to this day, police have yet to solve that case. Coming up on Good Morning America here on WRTV, a conversation with JonBenet's father about why he's still holding out hope for a break in that case. But first, let's head outside with a big good morning to Greenwood, McCordsville, and Westfield, all great places to call home right here in central Indiana. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV.
Keller and Keller.
Welcome back. The time right now is 6:25. Raphael, Megan, this is the time where we chat about what is trending at 6. So Megan, kick us off.
Oh yeah, the Boston Red Sox are starting the year off by making history, you guys. The team has hired 29-year-old Bianca Smith. She serves as the minor league coach for the Red Sox organization. She is the first black woman to coach in the history of professional baseball. Kudos to her. And Smith joins a small group of women trailblazing in the sport. Last season, season, Alyssa Nakin became the first woman to coach on the field during a Major League game, and Indianapolis native Kim Ng was hired as the Miami Marlins general manager. That makes her the first female GM and first Asian American GM in Major League Baseball history. Wow.
Congratulations to all of those.
You know what that's right. Beyonce says, "Who rules the world? Girls." I'm just saying.
I know you're going to go there, Raphael. Okay, well.
Listen.
Speaking of history here, scientists at the University of Bath in the United Kingdom are working on groundbreaking technology. This will let you charge your phone with your clothes. So here's how it works. They recently discovered nylon fibers are capable of generating electricity from simple body movements. That energy could then be stored in a small battery built into your pocket. So Raphael, as much as you're on the move, go, 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 your phone could always be charged.
I like that
and
idea.
Can you imagine all those jackets that I have with all that bling? I mean, I could power a neighborhood somewhere in Indianapolis or Shelbyville or maybe Frankfurt. My jacket's coming to a neighborhood near you. We'll see what happens. Hey, so check this out. iPhone users are getting really creative with their boxes. iPhone box started trending on Twitter after a taunting tweet that said, "I don't know who needs to hear this, but throw away that box your iPhone came in. You don't need it. You will never need it." That prompted hoarders to come out of the closet. They started posting photos of the box being used as a drawer divider. Some was transformed into wall art, turned into a gaming controller, and one person, of course, even used it as a coffin for their dearly departed gerbil. Now, that's a little bit dark. That's dark, so to brighten up the mood, let's just go to Todd Clausen, who has a good forecast. Todd.
I just take the boxes, all the boxes I get, and I just take them off to the recycling center. And I don't have a gerbil, so I don't have to worry about a funeral. All right, outside right now, we're dealing with temperatures in the low 30s. Right now, 32 in Indianapolis, 33 in Bloomington, 34 in Muncie, and 32 in Lafayette. Temperatures sound like a broken record, I know it, but they're just not going to do much here throughout the day today with the cloud cover in place. We're in the low 30s throughout the morning hours. Hopeful for a few peaks of sunshine here this afternoon, but definitely not a guarantee, Megan, as temperatures will be topping off in the upper 30s.
Thank you, Todd. A caution this morning. If you received a gift card during the holidays, leave it out so you can see it and use it as soon as possible. John Matarese shows us why that's more important than ever during the pandemic, so you don't waste your money.
Did you get any gift cards during the holidays? Well, it's more important than ever during this pandemic that you use them as soon as possible. Eileen Pike loves to support local shops and small businesses. So last Christmas, she bought her aunt $75 in gift cards to a movie theater that shut down for good during the pandemic.
There was no way for me to get my money back or for my aunt to use the gift that we bought her last Christmas.
That's a concern with more and more stores and restaurants on the verge of going under this pandemic winter. Look around you. Steinmart's closing almost all of its stores. New York & Company running its final closing sale. And Pier 1 is now gone for good. But from the Doesn't That Stink file, the main reason almost 1/3 of holiday gift cards are never redeemed. Yahoo Finance says it's not store closings, but because the store's too far away. Inactivity fees have ruined their value. The recipient loses the card or forgets they even have the card. So with so many shops and restaurants on the bubble this winter, use them or lose them is more important now than ever with those holiday gift cards. If a business you have a gift card to goes under, try calling similar businesses nearby. They may honor it to get you as a customer. Now you don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese. Good morning, Indiana.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
And it's 6:30 here on your Wednesday morning. Let's take a look at your news feed. Firefighters trying to figure out the cause of a major fire up in Kokomo. This fire started yesterday morning at the Kokomo Tribune. The crews couldn't initially find the source of the fire, and they used an excavator to tear down a portion of that building. That paper has been in operation since 1850.
From northern Indiana, 2 people recovering near South Bend after being stuck in a crashed vehicle for 2 days. The crash happened along a farm lane just feet away from a pond and a sand pit. The man and woman inside that vehicle were conscious when they were found. They were taken to the hospital for their injuries.
There's good news this morning surrounding a coronavirus outbreak at the Vigo County Jail. Sheriff John Plassey says there are currently no cases of the virus inside the jail. Last month, Plassey reported more than 100 cases of COVID-19 at the facility.
Thank you for starting your day here with Good Morning Indiana. And as Lauren Casey would say, we are at the top of the midweek hill. And I guess, Lauren, are we going down the hill now? I mean, I don't want to go up any hill, to be honest, on any day of the week.
You guys know what I mean, right, Megan? We're kind of like on the roller coaster. We're going up, up, up. We're getting to the middle part of the week. The show.
And now we go down?
Yeah, but down is the good thing.
To the weekend.
Yeah, and that's sliding into the weekend.
And I think we have some sun, right, coming up for the weekend, hopefully, Tom?
By the weekend, hopefully we get some sunshine in here. So that is the good news, because, boy, it's been a struggle ever since Monday. Monday, we had the sunshine, and it was the best weather day of the week. And here we are once again on Wednesday morning talking about clouds and temperatures that are cool, but honestly, it could be a lot worse for the beginning of January. 32 right now in Indy, 33 is the current temperature in Bloomington. We have the clouds firmly in place. No visibility issues here in the metro area or across most of central Indiana for that matter. You have to go up into the Monticello area, and there could be a little bit of freezing fog there, and that's where the skies have cleared just a little bit here this morning. So as the skies cleared, that's where that fog has settled in. And something I'll keep an eye on for you here throughout the remainder of Good Morning Indiana and into the weather cut-ins for Good Morning America. This storm system off to our west will not impact us. It'll actually go down to our south and then kind of make its way around us. Just mostly cloudy skies here throughout the day today, with the clouds. Temperatures just slowly starting to creep up into the mid-30s by the noon hour, and highs this afternoon, Lauren, in the upper 30s.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic this morning as you're heading out the door. This is I-465 in Fall Creek Road. This is on the northeast side of town where things are picking up, as you can see by all the headlights there, moving northbound and southbound. No delays, no crashes to slow you down. That is the good news. Raphael?
We hope to be on the road to a resolution for many of you. WRTV investigates, looking into your complaints as we work for you about these stimulus checks going into the wrong bank accounts. We received multiple messages from you about this critical issue. We learned that this is happening to some families who filed their 2019 taxes with H&R Block. That includes Ashley Gahagan. She tells WRTV she tried to reach out to the company and got this instead.
They said that they had a high volume of calls, and so they're not taking any calls. We still don't have our money. And from my understanding, there's a ton of people that this has happened to, and nobody really knows how to handle it or the next steps to take to try to get their money. And it's kind of caught in a middleman.
So working for you, we have more details on this developing story. H&R Block says that the IRS determines where those stimulus payments go. In some cases, money was sent to a different account than the first payment from last spring. The company says to please call them if the IRS Get My Payment website displays an account number that you do not recognize. Now, H&R Block's hotline number is 1-800-HR-BLOCK. But as you heard, some customers are having a hard time getting through that hotline. So you can find out the status of your stimulus payment by simply going to irs.gov/EIP. You can find all of this information, we know it's a lot, right now on the WRTV app. Megan?
Raphael, the call for blood and plasma donations from people who have recovered from COVID-19 continues this morning. January's National Blood Donor Month. The Red Cross and Versity Blood Centers encourage people to roll up their sleeves and help save lives. Krista Marlowe with Northwest Indiana's Red Cross chapter will be donating convalescent plasma for the third time after contracting coronavirus in the spring.
Hoosiers helping Hoosiers, I feel that that's my job, and I feel that's my role and responsibility. So as long as I have antibodies to give, I'll give them.
Marlowe says the process of donating convalescent plasma is as simple as donating blood, but it just takes a little bit longer, Lauren.
Well, Megan, fireworks are expected on Capitol Hill today as Congress gathers to certify the presidential election results. Coming up, how objections could impact the counting process. The time right now is 6:35. Stay with us. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV.
She thought that was good.
Welcome back. It is 6:37. Indiana lawmakers could overrule the governor on an issue that impacts renters' rights. Last legislative session, Governor Eric Holcomb vetoed Bill SEA 148. That would preempt local landlord-tenant ordinances. The governor says that the language was, quote, overly broad, and it prevented any type of local control. Discussions of a potential override by the General Assembly could happen with almost no prior notice or opportunity for public discussion. According to eviction data, Indianapolis is second only to New York City in the number of court-ordered evictions.
Lauren, a new effort hopes to ensure that no Hoosier goes hungry, especially people who can't pick up their food for a number of reasons. Gleaners is now partnering with other community leaders to deliver food directly to people's homes. It's an emergency option that should only be used if a person is quarantining with COVID or has no transportation. Gleaner says the program has already served 28,000 households in Marion County.
We work with Indie Hunger Network to kind of field and man all of those calls. We work with Second Helpings because they provide prepackaged and frozen meals for people. We work with 913 Sports, and there are boots on the ground delivering.
So working for you, let's connect you to this critical program. If you need the service, you can call Gleaners. Their number 317-925-0191. You can also download the WRTV app and click on the story for more information. Megan?
Today on Capitol Hill, some Republican lawmakers plan to oppose the certification of President-elect Joe Biden's win in the November election. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live with more on how Hoosier lawmakers will be in the middle of all of it this afternoon. Good morning, Kelsey.
Hey, good morning, Megan. So as you mentioned, the November election, it will officially come to an end today as the Congress is going to certify the Electoral College vote that happened last month. So usually this process isn't something that's heavily covered, but it is this year because President Trump has not conceded the election. The vote today begins at 1 p.m. and is expected to take a very long time. During the vote, each state will be called and the results read out loud, and at that time, any member of Congress can object to those results. These objections have to be submitted in writing, which has been done by more than a dozen members of Congress. Each objection gets a 2-hour debate followed by a vote. Now, will this change the outcome of the election? Experts believe it will not because a majority of the House and Senate would have to object, and they say that is unlikely.
You could certainly see some of his supporters in Congress try to raise challenges. It is a question, they're not going to pass. They're not going to succeed in undoing the electoral vote.
So the last time an objection like this happened was 15 years ago by Democrats who believed that voters were disenfranchised in the state of Ohio, and that could have helped John Kerry defeat George W. Bush. Now, the key difference from 2020 to 2005 is that Senator Kerry, he did not support the objection, while President Trump does. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thanks for breaking that down for us. It is 6:41. If you're looking for a good local read for 2021, 2 Butler students collaborated to create a children's book that celebrates creativity. Music in My Head is a new children's book written by Jen Mulzer, a Butler student in their creative writing program, and she's a mother. It's illustrated by another Butler student, Abea Kinsey, and it just hit store shelves before the holidays. And so I caught up with Mulzer to talk about how her son, who is diagnosed with ADHD, was the inspiration behind this work.
Reminding kids that no matter where you are in a situation and how you feel, just push through it and you'll find something rewarding at the end, but also that it's temporary. The book covers that because there's a lot of joy and there's a lot of animation and there's a lot of dreams and him getting excited and all these different worlds and fantasy. And then there's a little bit of reality.
Well, if you want to purchase Music in My Head, you can find it on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble.
I went to bed with this case. I woke up with this case, and it was not an easy situation to be in.
She oversaw the investigation into the police shooting death of Dre'Jon Reed. only on WRTV on this Wednesday. The special prosecutor speaks publicly to Good Morning Indiana since that grand jury decision. But first, let's check your forecast with Todd Clausen. Good morning, TK.
Raphael, good morning to you. We ended 2020 with two big storm systems. The last one brought the freezing rain into our area on New Year's Day. Since then, it's been pretty dry, and that dry stretch of weather is going to continue all the way into the weekend. We'll break it all down for you coming up in your WRTV Storm Team Forecast.
Service a name you can trust.
Welcome back. Only on WRTV, the special prosecutor who led the investigation into the shooting death of Dre'Jon Reed.
This is her first television interview, Megan, since that November decision. The one item that we could not discuss was the grand jury proceedings. In the shooting death of Dre'Jon Reed, we will never know what was said or seen by the grand jury. It decided not to seek any criminal charges against Metro Police Officer DeJour Mercer. Reed was shot and killed in an exchange of gunfire during a foot chase last May. Special Prosecutor Rosemary Corey with State Police led the investigation.
How difficult was this case? Because you said that you could feel the burden. What was the burden in this case?
The burden was a heavy burden. It was truly a heavy burden. I felt compassion for Mr. Reed's mother. I'm a mother of two boys, and it was extremely difficult to process some of the evidence that I received. I also felt compassion for Officer Mercer's family, Officer Mercer.
Corey can't talk about what was presented to the grand jury involving this high-profile and sensitive case.
Do you think race or gender played a role in the public's expectation as you went about doing your job?
Because the public doesn't have the benefit of obtaining all the evidence that I have. And they arrive at their own conclusions based upon certain aspects. That this is a Black man, he was shot by police, so that therefore it was unjustified. And because this is a Black woman, she will also see it that way. However, I'm also bound by the rules of law. So I must follow the law, I must follow the evidence. So yes, I do believe that because I am a Black woman, that there were many people who believed that I should naturally side one way or the other, because the shooter also was a Black man, but that I should side one way or the other just because we share the same ethnicity. And that just wasn't the case. I mean, that's not how you apply the law to the facts. That's not how you practice law. That's not how you prosecute a case.
The public announcements in November closing the criminal case also gave us a personal insight on the court-appointed special prosecutor who's the mother of two boys.
We have discussed this case, and this was an opportunity for me to remind my children how to behave when they're out in society and how not to behave. Not to say that anything about this particular case, it was just a reminder for me to have that discussion with my children.
The special prosecutor also expressed gratitude for the efforts of state police who did the investigative work on this case. Our full interview with the special prosecutor will be posted on the WRTV app as well as our website, WRTV.com. On this Wednesday, let's check your forecast before you head out the door. And Todd Clausen, here in Johnson County, it feels pretty good because really you can't feel any kind of wind, no breeze whatsoever. Keep it that way.
Yeah, you know, and that's the big difference, Raphael, from yesterday, at least compared to today. Yesterday, we had those winds that were gusting up to 15 to 20 miles per hour with temperatures in the 30s. And this morning, we do not have the wind, so it feels a lot better out there, even though the temperatures are pretty similar to where they were 24 hours ago. We're locked in with the cloud cover, not only today, but the next couple days as well. We have no major storms heading our way. In fact, it's a dry forecast for us, probably all the way into the middle of next week, with temperatures that are going to be fairly seasonable for for January, and that is in the upper 30s to right around 40 degrees. A live look from downtown as you look off towards the southwest, and you can see the clouds are in place here this morning, and unfortunately that's just going to be the case throughout the entire day today. The temperature at the airport sits at 32 degrees. The real field temperature is at 32, and that's again because the wind is calm. Yesterday at this point, and really throughout much of the day, we had wind chill values that were down into the low to mid 20s. So much better temperature-wise this morning. It's just not going to be a brighter day for us. The afternoon hour is going to be very similar. 33 right now is the current temperature in Bloomington, 30 in Richmond. As we work our way throughout the day, you notice hour by hour, there's just not much in the way of change temperature-wise. Upper 30s, again, it's not terrible for the middle or the beginning to middle of January. That's where we should be, but with the lack of sunshine, it just feels a little cooler than that. Now, as far as the clouds go, they have tried to break apart a little bit here as you work your way up towards the Lafayette area where the skies have cleared. You notice this little patch of clear skies, a little bit of patchy fog has settled in. It should be short-lived because the clouds will fill back in, and at that point, the fog should just disperse and not be an issue for us. And again, it's just that one isolated area. It's not a widespread issue this morning. This storm system, it's a mess with rain and snow and mixed precipitation. It looks like it's going to head in our direction because, right, our storms normally move from west to east. Not going to be the case here throughout the day today or tomorrow. That storm system actually is going to start to transfer its energy to a bigger storm system along the Gulf Coast. Tomorrow morning, you wake up to temperatures similar to today. Your afternoon, well, look at that. Similar to today as well. Not much change at all. Lots of clouds around, temperatures that will be in the 20s. You may ask, Todd, when does the change come? When am I going to see the sunshine again? Well, you have to wait till the weekend. But once we get the sunshine in here, that is the good news. We are going to keep the sunshine around all the way through the weekend and into the middle of next week. The temperatures, though, don't really change a whole lot, Lauren, as we will be in the mid-30s. But there's a big difference between 35 and sunny and 35 with more in the way of clouds around.
All right, Todd, thank you. Let's take a look as you are heading out the door this morning. This is I-65 near West Street and MLK. If you're heading into downtown from maybe the northwest sides of town, you shouldn't have any problems. It's smooth sailing on your interstate. No crashes to report around central Indiana at this early hour. That is good news. Megan?
It's been 24 years since the murder of JonBenet Ramsey, and police have yet to solve the murder. Coming up on Good Morning America, Gio Benitez, JonBenet's father, talks about why he's still holding out hope for a break in the case.
Plus, plans one central Indiana community now making to distribute the coronavirus vaccine. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV.
Welcome back. The time right now is 6:55 right here on Good Morning Indiana.
Meteorologist Todd Clausen will have a look at your midweek forecast in just a few moments.
But let's get right to your top stories. Let's take you now to Hamilton County. The Fishers Health Department is planning ahead. It hopes to create a vaccine roster of residents who are interested in getting vaccinated by filling out an online survey. The health department says they're taking a proactive approach while waiting for further guidance on vaccine distribution from the state. In the meantime, doses will continue to go to those who have been prioritized by the state, like first responders. Lauren?
And Raphael, the Indiana Department of Correction has added a Deputy Commissioner of Diversity and Development. Angela Sutton has been tapped for that role. Sutton will supervise the Staff Development and Training Division, as well as the Executive Director of Diversity and Veterans Affairs. Sutton will provide guidance for programs and training focused on equity and inclusion.
And two Colts icons are among the 15 finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Peyton Manning and Reggie Wayne are the two. This is the first year of eligibility for Manning and the second for Wayne. The class of 2021 will be revealed during the week leading up to the Super Bowl. The newest Hall of Famers will be enshrined in August.
And let's get a check of that midweek forecast, Todd, and look ahead to our weekend.
You know what, Lauren? Before we look at that, I just noticed for once I matched the three of you. You guys always kind of coordinate, and I just so happened to pick out the purple tie here this morning. So finally on the same page there. Yes. All right, here's that forecast for you. And the temperature is not going to do much as you see the next 7 days. They're pretty consistent with lows that are going to be in the mid to upper 20s and highs that are going to be in the mid to upper 30s. 30. So there's not much of a temperature difference as far as lows and highs go. Now, what does change in the forecast, and it's going to be a welcome change, is we get some sunshine back. But you have to be patient. It's not today. It's not tomorrow. It's not so much Friday. But as we work our way into Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, that's when the skies will become partly cloudy. Absent from the forecast any precipitation, really. It's going to be a pretty dry stretch of weather that's going to take us all the way into the middle of next week. It does look like we extend this out from Tuesday into Wednesday, maybe Thursday of next week. We could get a minor storm system heading our way.
We're back in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America with local news, weather, traffic updates.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great day.